Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills Housing Update. I hope you all had a lovely holiday season. I took a few weeks off to try and enjoy the holidays before work really picks back up for 2025. So here we are with our first update of 2025. So what I'm going to do today, we're going to be looking at December's numbers as well. I'm going to kind of do a summary of what happened through December and then compare where we're currently at versus where we were a month ago, because I kind of skipped 3 weeks of market updates. Sorry guys. So looking at what happened last December, our average price last year was $935,000 and we had 30 sales. So our average price was quite low last year, but again, December is always kind of a really quiet month. This December was busier in terms of sales. We're up about 17% to 35 sales. But what is sort of the bad news is that our average price actually dropped just over 2%. We're down to $913,000 this December. So when we look at the 35 sales in December, really our lower price point is what was driving the market. And so it really brought our average price down. Of the 35 sales, 24 of them were under $1 million. So that is a huge amount of property selling under $1 million. And we had quite a few sell under that 800,000, so bringing it even lower. When we look at the other sales over $1 million, only our highest sale was just over 1.6 million. So really no big sales in December. And then after 1.6 million, it dropped right down to 135. And then the rest of the sales were between 1 and 135. So there was really not a lot of sales over that million mark. We only had 11 sales and really 10 of them fell between 1 and 1.35 million. So not a lot of properties to pull our average price point up. I suspect coming into the coming months, we're going to see that average price easily come back up over that million mark. Our inventory is sitting low over the million mark. The rules have changed. I do think we're going to see our pricing go up from here. We can't really, December's just a weird month, but it felt pretty busy. The first 2 weeks of December were quite busy, and 35 sales is a good month in December. It means the buyers are active. So that's what happened in December in terms of our average price and kind of where the sales pockets were. Lots of movement under $1 million. After that, not a lot. So now let's get into our weekly normal numbers. In Georgetown this week, we're reporting basically one of the 2 slowest weeks of the year. So we only had 3 sales in Georgetown last week. Not a huge surprise. Over the holidays, it is not busy. We should start to see this number creep back up to, the 8 to 12 that we're used to seeing in Georgetown. And there were 5 new listings, but 3 of them actually came off the market a while ago and are back on. They came off before Christmas. So really not many new listings hitting the market either. So that's sort of good news. Acton this week had 1 sale and no new listings. Glen Williams had no sales and 1 new listing, and nothing happened in our rural market. So now one of the main things we need to talk about is sort of how we're starting our year in terms of active inventory. So I'm going to sort of compare them to the start of December because, I kind of missed 3 weeks there. So let's just sort of talk about where we came from at the start of December to where we're starting our year off now. And I have been talking for a long time about how December is really a month where we see a lot of people exit the market, and it really helps to soften our inventory. And I mean, today's numbers will support that. So in Halton Hills this week on resale properties, we are at 130 active listings. A month ago, we were at 170. So it's not as dramatic of a drop as we saw last year when our inventory was cut in half, but it is quite a lot better than the 230. So when we look back in the summer, when we were at 230, we're at 100 less active listings than then, and 40 less active listings than we were at a month ago. So nice to see our inventory soften and be in a little bit of a better spot. Georgetown is down from 99 at the start of December down to 79 active listings. This is not a super low number for Georgetown, but it's definitely not super high either. It's kind of that middle. I like to see 50 or 60 is where we sort of see our market really moving. 79 is still sitting pretty high. We have 6 new condos that are technically on the resale market because they're built and you can occupy them, so I leave them in the numbers. But even if you take those away, we're in the low 70s. So our inventory is in a much better spot than it was in a month ago at 99 active listings. So now look at our price points. Under 800,000 is down to 10 active listings. That's a very low number for under 800,000. Most of them are condo townhomes. There's not a lot of condo units on the market, like condo apartments. So 10 active listings under 800,000, and that price point's been busy. So I suspect that will continue to be a busy pocket because inventory is low there. It was at 14 at the start of December. So we've come down a bit. 800 to $1 million is our only price point that's actually up. So it was at 16 at the start of December, and now we're at 19, but that is still a lot less than our 30 plus that we were seeing. And we know that that pocket is definitely a pocket that gets very busy when our market starts to pick up. 1 to 1.5 million, such good news for the sellers in this price point. So we had a rough year in this price point. We were hitting like over 60 active listings. There were so many properties available over between 1 and 1.5 million. So at the start of December, we were at 49, and we are now down to 27 active listings. That's a really solid number in that price point. And that pocket is actually, I think, going to be a pocket where we start to see a lot of activity. The rules changed in December, and now you can actually get an insured mortgage up to 1.5 million versus 1 million before. So a buyer needs a lot less down payment on a property now and can actually transact in that price point for a lot less. Before, people would need, if you were buying $1.5 million, you needed to have at least $300,000 down. That is no longer the case. You can get an insured mortgage and put only 10% down in that pocket. So you can see how it's really hard to save up these big down payments for these properties, but now you need a lot less of a down payment to be transacting there, and that should fuel the 1 to 1.5 million market. And I think overall that's just gonna help. It's going to help everyone. Our properties are just really expensive now. And so being able to leverage an insured mortgage is a new tool that I think will help the buyers there. So anyways, I think that price point is going to be busier than it was last year because I think there's going to be more buyers able to participate in it. So we'll see if we start to see those prices come up. And then 1.5 million plus is down from 31 to 23 active listings. So it also saw a nice drop. It's still sitting pretty high, not a lot of movement. Like I talked about, in all of December, only one property sold over that 1.5. But for it to soften a bit is certainly welcome. And if we start to see that 1 to 1.5 start to get hot and fuel, we know that that seller in 1 to 1.5 can move up into the 1.5 to like 2 million a lot easier. So it's going to be interesting to see how these mortgage changes maybe impact our million plus properties. So overall, I think Georgetown inventory is doing good things. It's in a more stable place. It's not as saturated. It will just be how many properties are going to be coming on the market in the coming months, and will the buyer demand keep up with it? We'll have to see. In Acton this week, we're only at 13 active listings. That's a pretty low number for Acton. It was at 17 at the start of December. We were over 30 at certain points in this year. So 13 active listings is a great number for sellers in Acton. Glen Williams is down from 8 to 5 active listings. So that's a normal number for the Glen. It's not saturated, but you know, there's some properties there. And the rural market, oh, yay for rural. It went from 46 to 33 active listings. Again, super saturated in 2024. And we did see a lot of those properties come off the market. I mean, that number is not lower because of sales. It's basically lower because the people came off the market. But either way, if town starts to feel lower with inventory, the rural market always picks up. So we'll sort of see how that pans out coming into 2025. So overall, I think it's a pretty good update. I think we're starting the year in a pretty good spot. We are in a much better inventory position than we were at in the summer, and interest rates have gone down. I think it's going to be busy in 2025. It feels like it's busy. I feel like there's lots of people inquiring, lots of activity. So I'm excited to see how we do this January, if we really start to feel the fuel that we normally do in January. So I will be back next week to see what happens for the first week of January. Have a great week, everyone.